E.
Bagum. So, day 5.
Yeah.
We've got glasses of wine again.
The rest of the bottle.
Helps.
Because units.
So, the E section doesn't have an awful lot in it. So this might well be a short one.
No bad thing.
But it does have some great things in it. So, it begins with Tim Burton's Ed Wood, which is a film I love.
Never seen it.
You've not seen Ed Wood?
It just looked like a faux noir.
That's the way it's been presented. So Ed Wood is about the director Ed Wood, who made the film Plan 9 from Outer Space, widely considered to be the worst film ever made. So this film is about Ed Wood and the making of Plan 9 from Outer Space.
I think I was just over Johnny Depp, Tim Burton at
You need
that
to watch this.
stage.
It's really good. It makes me want to watch Plan 9 from Outer Space every time I watch it. The recreations of the stuff from that film are amazing. It's got Bill Murray in it. It's brilliant. Can't go wrong. It's one of my favourites of the Tim Burtons. It's less silly,
Okay.
more just good. And then next to Ed Wood is another film about making a film, which is Federico Fellini's 8½. So this was Fellini's 8½th film, because he considered a short. There's a dog squeaking a ball in the background. It's perfect. It was his 8½th film because he considered a short to be a half a film. So he was having massive director's block and really struggling to make a film. So the way he resolved that was to make a film about a director who was having director's block, struggling to make a film.
Meta.
And it's one of the kind of the art house classics.
And he made a short story as well.
At some point earlier, yeah. There is a short in the 8½, or the 7½ up to this.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So we screened this last year with the Italian Cultural Centre Wales, or maybe the year before, and we're going to be screening it again later this year as part of the Fellini 100 season. It's great, and it's beautiful on a big screen, black and white, and it's full of dreamy, weird imagery and loads of really iconic scenes and shots that have been ripped off by every other director in the 50 odd years since, 60 years.
Do you think you're still going to get the Fellini 100 in this year?
Yeah, there might not be 12 of them, because we were meant to do one a month, and we've missed March's and April's already, that were both booked in.
Fellini week?
We'll catch up somehow. Next, this is interesting. The first 3 in this row are all in black and white.
Very
Even though
interesting.
Ed Wood is from 2002 or 3, something like that. Because after 8½, is The Elephant Man.
Which I get confused with that film with Cher.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
Rocky Dennis in, what's it called? The Mask.
Yeah.
Because Rocky Dennis has a facial deformity.
Similar stories?
I don't know whether it was the same thing. I have similar stories, but then it's the similar story of somebody who's got a devastating facial deformity. Kind of bullied, saved a bit, doesn't go well at the end. Spoilers for The Mask and The Elephant Man. But The Elephant Man's one of my favourite. I love David Lynch films, and this is, even though this is not like a David Lynch film, it's amazing.
Is that a tin?
It's a steelbook. It's the new 4K remaster of it. Crisp, black and white loveliness, and I can't wait to chuck that on and watch the new version. It's got the greatest tear in a film. There's a lovely close-up of Anthony Hopkins, and just as the camera stops closing in on him, the tear drops down his cheek.
That's why he gets the big bucks.
Tear acting at its finest. The next one is El Topo, and I've just realised by pulling this out that I don't need to have the El Topo DVD in here because I've got the Jodorowsky box set over there, and there's a new Jodorowsky box set coming in a couple of minutes. But El Topo is Jodorowsky's psychedelic spiritual western about a man in black on a revenge mission. It's bonkers, it's amazing. It's pretty violent. It's got Jodorowsky's a bit of a troubling. So there's a scene in here. There's a rape scene in here, where at the time the film came out, he claims, I think it was the time the film came out, he claimed he actually raped the actress because he plays the man in black. He's since. I don't think she's ever said he did it, and he's since said he was just saying it to court controversy at the time of the film coming out because the whole film was controversial and he thought it would boost it up. He's weird. But this was the first, like, the big cult midnight movie of it did really badly, and then John Lennon saw it playing in New York at midnight in a little flea pit cinema and said it was the greatest thing he'd ever seen, and then it played for yonks in that midnight cinema. People just sold out every night for years.
How did he get the word out back in the day?
MySpace. Okay, next. Oh, there's another one that I've just realised I don't really need to have over here, because there's a Bruce Lee box set over there, but there's Enter the Dragon on its own, which is the film I recommended for you to watch for a kung fu film. But I think it's a kung fu film because it's got lots of amazing fight scenes in it, but it's actually a kind of cool 70s, slightly James Bondy, Lalo Schifrin amazing soundtrack. It's one of the greats. You're not looking impressed. Next up, furthering the John Carpenter love, is two versions of Escape from New York. The new 4K remastered one, and an old Region 1 American DVD, which is being kept because it's got extra things in it, like a Escape from New York comic and some stuff that's not on the 4K one, and it's a great film. You've seen that yet?
Yeah, ages ago.
It's amazing. Kurt Russell is. You'd say Kurt Russell at his finest, but he's always good in John Carpenter things.
Has he ever been bad?
I don't think he has. He's one of the best. Next is the Evil Dead trilogy. So Evil Dead 2, and Army of Darkness, which I haven't seen any of these for ages, but they are fantastic, and there was a period where I watched these quite a lot. Amazing gore. Bruce Campbell's one of the greatest heroes in horror, with his chainsaw hand. And Evil Dead, at least. I can't remember much about Evil Dead 2, other than it's pretty much a remake of Evil Dead, but Evil Dead is we talked about Blair Witch Project, and it's still scary every time I watch it. Even though Evil Dead gets laughed at and is like, oh, it's really low budget and special effects are rubbish, the stuff around, they're not rubbish anyway, but the stuff around it, the fact they're in a little cabin in the woods, and there's lots of those point of view shots coming through the woods towards the cabin, and there's a swinging chair on the porch that stops when they're looking at it. It's a proper creepy horror film.
I'm not drawn to chainsaws in films.
Well, he requires it at the end to dispatch the demons. And then when you get to the third one, Army of Darkness, it gets even better because he's got a chain. I think he loses an arm. He's got a chainsaw as an arm.
That's just not practical.
And a shotgun that he's got a special loading mechanism, so he can still load his shotgun and chop. It's genius. Next, The Exorcist, another of my favourites. I think I first saw The Exorcist when it got re-released at the cinema, so that's 1998, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Saw it in the cinema for the first, so that was pretty good to see it with a load of people in a scary situation. So there's the Blu-ray of it, which is the theatrical cut, and the director's cut, which you don't really need the director's cut. And then there's the Exorcist box set, which is The Exorcist 2, which is awful.
Is that the French and Saunders version?
If that was on here as a special feature, that would be better than The Exorcist 2 by a long way. Exorcist 2 is terrible. Exorcist 3 is good. It's not as good as The Exorcist, but it's a good psycho horror film. It's not really supernatural like the other one as much. And then it's got 2 versions of the prequel that was made in 2000 and something. The Exorcist: The Beginning and Dominion prequel to The Exorcist. So Paul Schrader, that wrote Taxi Driver and directed Blue Collar that we talked about the other day, he was making a prequel to The Exorcist, and the studio took it off him once it had been made, and bits of it were reshot and it was recut into a completely different film because they hated it so much. But both versions are on there, so I don't think either of them are very good. But I love The Exorcist, so for completion they're all there. The Exorcist is another film that I've had a pre-official release that I bought from eBay when it came out in the cinema. Then I had a VHS, and I had a VHS box set, and I had a DVD and a DVD box set, and I'm now on 2 copies on Blu-ray.
Do you feel at peace with that now?
No, because there'll be a 4K one at some point. I'll have to get it to see that green spew in ultra high detail, high definition. And then last on the list, the Ease, very short Ease, is the film that we recommended yesterday for a Freeview Watch of the Week, which is The Eyes of Laura Mars. So this, when I picked it out as the recommendation, it made me realise the other thing that we talked about earlier in the week, which was Blow Up and Blow Out, and The Conversation are all about people hearing or seeing things they're not supposed to, which appears to be, by virtue of the number of films that we've got that are like that, one of my favourite genres. People seeing things they shouldn't.
Pennies too.
So The Eyes of Laura Mars is Faye Dunaway as a fashion photographer, and she takes pretty controversial, grim fashion shoots of like the models draped over cars with blood all over them and stuff. Like, she's controversial.
Yeah.
70s controversial. And she starts to realise, she starts to see murders through the eyes of the killer.
It reminds me of that M.R. James story where he looks through the glass and
View from a Hill.
View from a Hill.
That we showed last year as well, and is one of my favourite M.R. James stories.
Yeah.
I like people seeing and hearing things they shouldn't, obviously. This is great. And Tommy Lee Jones has got hair in it. Big hair.
He's got hair.
Not like that. It's directed by Irvin Kershner, that directed The Empire Strikes Back.
That's strong hair.
It's a great film. It's another 70s classic that probably should be on more and seen more.
Yeah.
So that's it. That's all the E's.
Great. So, what was the question?
Well, if you want me to pick 3 for a desert island,
Oh yeah.
I have to take The Exorcist. And I'll take The Elephant Man. And I'll take Escape from New York.
What did I ask you yesterday?
Soundtrack. My favourite soundtrack on a film.
You instantly forgot, didn't you?
I instantly forgot that I'd ever heard any soundtracks. Well, as is my want. I'm still thinking about it.
Come on, just pull one out of the hat. You could say Pitch Perfect if you want.
Drive?
I don't believe that that's your...
Drive's great. I'm gonna have to think about it. It might be one of the Wes Andersons, because they're like the Tarantino's. The Wes Andersons are great jukebox soundtracks of amazing things merged with things that The Life Aquatics Bowie acoustic Bowie soundtrack.
It's great.
And the Devo and all the other bits that are in it. That's a really good one.
And the Serge, what's his name?
Sir George. S-E-U? George.
Yeah.
Sir George. Yeah, I'm going to go for that one for now. And you're still sticking with Blue Crush?
Why wouldn't I?
No reason. So that's it for today. It's a very short one. F tomorrow has a 2.5 shelves. It's a bit juicier, I guess. There we go. That's the end.
Thanks, Ben.
Enjoy the rest of your wine.
You too.
Thanks, Nick. Bye.
Bye.